My show.
So for those that don't know, what we're about to do is Ian and Beej and I, who have actually, this is only probably the third time we've ever been in the same room together. We actually are friends over the internet more than we are friends in real life.
Because we can't stand each other.
Can't stand each other.
Nerds.
Well, Beej just recently moved to Victoria, but Ian lives in Edmonton and I live up in Nanaimo, which is 2 hours north of here. And we have a radio show that we've been working on for almost a year now called Top Tech, and it's on iTunes. You can just search for Top Tech. And we call ourselves the most powerful men in Canada. And what we do is we talk about technology for about a couple hours, and then we edit it down into 15-minute segments. Well,
It sounds just incredibly tedious.
Well, it kind of is.
It's Whoa, that's too much. Way too much.
The great thing is that
Can you hear me out there, Johnny?
I can hear you.
Okay. Yes.
I was about to say that we edit it, but in fact, Ian sometimes helps me with the editing, but Beej refuses to even listen to them. I'm not listening to my own voice. I'm not listening to anything I do. And so he actually isn't even he does know this because I've told him, but I actually have in general we record about 2 hours and I have to bring it down to about 15 minutes of usable material. I'd say about 80% of the cuts are Beej.
Because you're the one doing the editing.
Exactly. Well, I actually don't cut Beej over myself. I actually try and Ian has very interesting things to say usually and doesn't speak as much as Beej. Beej has a tendency to dominate, as you will notice probably when we start doing
You know, it's really...
I actually try not to cut Ian very much because...
Someone in our chat that claims to be related to the RZA.
What?
I love this production.
That's
pretty amazing.
I look forward to seeing his new movie.
Oh yeah, that looks great.
Right?
It does look great.
Yeah, it does.
Yeah.
Hey,
Yeah,
Graham.
he's
Test on the
doing a
mic?
martial arts
While
movie.
you're doing Top Tech, can
Yeah.
you let Cam sit in the control chair while I give you a personal challenge?
Okay.
My calves are really sore from all that caramel dancing.
Nice.
I'm
I
supposed
would-
to still touch your
I would be
legs.
happy to help.
And
So-
man, you know what?
Actually-
Honestly, I don't find it like that difficult anymore because I'm so used to doing it. And Kate was able to go to match me for the half an hour. So I got to step up my game and come up with a more challenging dance
Well,
next
Kate
year.
wasn't.
Just do it on your head,
I mean,
with your feet.
you know. Kate
Try
was,
the
how about
Michael Flatley shenanigans. That's
or
hard.
Yeah.
No. I will sit on the floor. You gotta run. You guys gotta run. command.
much respect for Kate, but she was not actually going as hard as you anywhere near as much. So
What?
So
for the
we're...
caramel dancing.
I'm too
Okay.
loud in the mic.
She was there to
No,
support.
everyone's
She was
fine.
Okay.
Everyone's
So,
fine
actually,
for
as a-
everything.
as a
why are you
bonus-
back here?
Ian, would you be able to open up a QuickTime window and actually record this as well?
You gotta record it too.
No, you're going to have to find some way of extracting it from the feed.
Fine, we'll do that.
Boy, that sounds like an absolute pain in the butt.
Yeah. Eat that, editor.
So
Now
not
try to
only
cut me out.
now I don't have to go 2 hours to cut down to 15 minutes. I'm gonna have to find
12.
15 minutes in like 12 hours if I'm lucky.
Just follow the timestamp. You'll be fine.
I find meta talk about podcasts to be the most interesting talk.
Oh, so interesting. So we'll quickly just get started with this podcast. The funny thing is that this is going to be a very meta podcast because this podcast is actually going to be about how we're doing the streaming here at Desert Bus, which I thought everyone in Desert Bus might actually find kind of interesting. So we're gonna try and do a 15-minute episode about this, and hopefully it works out. Yeah, just let me know when you guys are ready.
I'm ready.
Okay, do we have an episode name for this?
Well, not until we do it. I figured we call it Desert Bus for Hope.
Okay, so why don't we do that? So I'd like to Beej to start introducing this, and we'll do and then we will just go into it.
Okay.
So this is going to be ad-libbed. I thought about scripting this, but I'm lazy and totally didn't script it.
Any point you at any point you want to just go ahead, we're good to go.
Okay.
At this time, fill your heart with charitable love as the most powerful men in Canada discuss Top Tech. This week, Desert Bus for home.
Awesome, Beej. Good job. Okay, so this week we are going to be talking about Desert Bus for Hope and in general streaming technologies. And so we're actually recording this live as I'm doing my driving shift at Desert Bus.
I found this, it's an amazing setup. Yeah, you have to keep watching the screen. Johnny is driving, for those of you out there who are listening to this later. Johnny's actually driving the Desert Bus right now, and if he crashes, then he's a terrible person.
Guys, I think I also want to point out this is probably the most people we've ever had listening to our show.
I'm sure this is easily the most people we've ever had listening to our show, probably by a wide margin. So today we're going to talk about some of the technology that goes into doing a broadcast like Desert Bus for Hope, and talk about a little bit about what we're doing here and how we're doing it. And so first thing you should know is that the engineering from this is being done from a different area. It's actually in the same room, but it's further around in the back. And Ian is in the back actually recording and doing all the engineering for not only Desert Bus, but also for this podcast.
Actually, audio engineering at this point. I have a real mixing board in front of me right now.
Ooh.
Now, interesting fact, we actually don't, for those who don't know, we actually don't regularly record together at all. We all do all of our work through collaboration online.
Through basically a lot of Skyping.
But we also use other technology as well.
I have a microphone.
I meant we sometimes will put notes in Dropbox. We use a bunch of different technologies to do that. But yeah, Skype is actually been really helpful. Skype is got a really good quality audio codec, and so we're able to do our
Silk audio codec.
Oh, it's the video is so, but the audio is actually quite good in Skype, and it's actually quite good for radio. And lots of radio people use Skype.
No, but the thing is though is that you cannot just Skype Desert Bus anymore. There's no way to do that. So we have to do an awful lot of streaming. And as Desert Bus has grown over the years, I've only started coming here since 5, so I've seen 5 moving to 6, and I think it's quite amazing to see how it's moved just from 5 to 6. But Johnny, you've been at Desert Bus since Desert Bus 1, is my understanding.
Yeah, and so the first year we did Desert Bus, I was explaining a little earlier, we actually just had a single camera with a wide-angle lens, elastic band to the camera, and just one camera pointing at the driver, and that was it. And I believe the microphone was just a microphone on the front of the camera. And this year we have a bunch of of course, and a computer streaming the actual driving as well.
Right, exactly. I actually was pointing at the screen because I wanted you to keep your eyes on the freaking road, Johnny. Don't crash the bus.
But this year we have 4 different HD cameras that we're broadcasting with, and one of the reasons that we can have the engineering in the back like we do is because instead of using in previous years we did broadcast in standard definition, but we used Firewire for connecting all the cameras, which is hard to do, and you can't run it very long cable runs. We're actually using cameras this year that are in HD and are using a connection technology called SDI.
Which is Serial Digital Interface?
It is indeed, Beej.
And you'll never see these on consumer cameras, won't you?
You will never see these.
Yeah, you will never see these.
Unless you already know what that acronym means, you will never see these.
I hadn't actually never heard of this before, and I thought you guys were basically just going to hook up a bunch of cameras through HDMI or through coax or something like that. So when you said, oh no, we need SDI switchers and we need all these things, and you had discussed, we need to get like a standalone box to switch between cameras, but then we also need something to handle all the audio and everything. This was completely overwhelming to me because I had no idea what you were talking about, but you ended up settling on something a little different. So what's the core of AV for Desert Bus?
Well, this year as you said, we were talking about getting like a dedicated box, and you can get dedicated boxes to do video and audio streaming from TriCast or a bunch of different companies. This year we decided that wasn't going to work out for us, and thanks to the generosity of Steve Dangler, we're able to rent a 12-core Mac Pro computer that we put capture cards in, including an SDI capture card, 2 actually SDI capture cards, and
we're not going to mention the brand of them this
time. We've had some problems with them, but it's worked out okay. And then 2 HDMI capture cards as well. And then so the computer basically takes all the video and it mixes them together and outputs them to our stream. And Ian, do you want to talk a little bit about the sound as well?
I want to get more to the core of the question of what is the core of Desert Bus in terms of the technological experience. And the core really is actually the Sega CD.
That's true. It's true. You couldn't have Desert Bus without the Sega CD.
In all seriousness, though, the reason that we're actually using a Mac Pro 12-core behemoth is not that we necessarily want to. I mean, I really want to. But it's because we use a piece of software called CamTwist and a piece of software called Quartz Composer to do the video switching and to do the video overlay. And these two technologies mixed together allow us to take some pretty high-end equipment and mix it, and some consumer-grade equipment, and allows us to do a professional quality video switching experience with professional quality overlays.
And we can do it all in 720p or
Yep.
higher, is my
We
understanding.
probably
could,
do
actually.
it higher. We just pipes and whatnot.
Yeah, the cameras are all capable of doing 1080p, and the computer probably could do it as well. Like if you look at what the cores are doing when they're going full tilt, they're actually not being worked out too hard. So they're doing all of the camera switching, they're doing the overlay, they're doing Skype. So we are using Skype for this as well when we do call-ins. So video call-ins and audio call-ins are all done through Skype. We do some, green screening on. We've got a green screen here at the studio that we're streaming Desert Bus at, and all this stuff can be all going at once, including encoding the video and sending it up to the servers to Twitch to broadcast. And the computer seems to be able to handle it no problem. Which last year we had, I think, a 2-core computer, and it was just being decimated by just standard definition video.
So we basically had the decision. Well, and I say we. I'm a member of the tech team, but I'm like number 4 on the tech team. We have 5 people on the tech team right now, and Johnny's essentially taken lead, and he and Ian have kind of just really said, okay, well, we're going to need this, we're going to need that,
Right.
And then Alex has had all the talent of building the overlay, and that's for anyone watching Desert Bus, or if you're listening to this later, you can totally go to YouTube and watch this and see what the overlay looks like. It's all the cool blue stuff on the screen. And really, my job was to switch between cameras, because we have the ability to do that. We have, I think, 4 or 5 different camera or video feeds that we can switch between. We can move audio about as we want. Like we can actually feed audio in and out of the stream as well from the computer, from 2 different computers. We can do that.
Yeah, we have a computer that's dedicated. So the way we do Desert Bus, we actually have a computer that's dedicated to the stream and the camera switching back in engineering, but we also have a computer that's dedicated just to the chat. So that's a really big part of streaming. That it's technology related, but I think a really important part of why you want to stream an event live as opposed to recording something and putting it up on afterwards is the interactivity. So we have a computer that has...
This would be an absolutely terrible event for us to just record for a full week in advance and then sell $5 tickets to.
It'd be awful. And so we can actually interact with the people that are watching our stream live by reading what they're saying in the chat, which is an IRC-based chat that we have a I think there's a
50-inch now?
46-inch monitor on its
Turned
sideways. So that we can actually read all of the text. And so I'm looking at it right now and reading what people are saying about this while we're going. And that same computer that's driving that is also the kind of the command station, as we call it, where the person who's the kind of the host of the show for the hours that they're there can go through all the challenges that are submitted to us and can play music and videos and bring up graphics and show them up on screen, and also can read all the chat.
Now, my understanding too is that things like the chat server and things like the challenge system, the donation system, all the back end that's being run over there. Watch the road, Johnny.
I'm watching.
All that stuff is not being run on our Mac Pro. It is being run on a separate computer that Ashton and has set up all that stuff for. To provide, because we had problems last year with people bidding, and so many people were bidding inside the chat that it was just basically overloading the servers. It was getting ridiculous.
Yeah, well, Desert Bus has grown really large. There's lots
Absolutely.
of different computers that are running, but in the studio, the 2 computers that are actually doing the heavy lifting are those 2 computers. But yeah, there's lots of servers and all sorts of other technology that's involved in making this an interesting interactive event.
So then audio, actually, let's mention audio really quick, because I know we've kind of run through a bit of what's going on, but because we're all needing to use the microphones, obviously, and above us, and it's hard to, nobody will be able to see, but directly above us from where I'm standing and putting my hands straight up, I could grab the room mic that's up there, but then there's also a mic that's mounted over in this direction, which is where driver cam is, for those of you who are watching.
Which the people at home are now hearing.
Yeah,
exactly.
So it's a shotgun microphone that's pointed at the person driving the bus.
And it gives a very different sound. We're talking on handheld Shure mics right now. Shure makes very, very, very excellent mics and very sturdy mics. They're very well-performing mics. But the thing is, we have so many mics because sometimes you're in the middle of doing something, a driver needs to talk, you need to keep the rest of the room quiet, so we need to be able to bring a mic down, and then we need to bring a mic up, and then we need to have all of these other mics that we're talking through. And, I brought my Digitech RP355 pedal with me, which had XLR ports I didn't even notice.
And that's used for his electric guitar.
Exactly, so I can
performance.
jack in that way. Ian is, if we for anyone who's watching, you might be able to see the mixer that Ian's sitting in front of, and he's bringing all that back to him. There's also a mic in engineering. There's a mic that he's talking to in engineering. And then there's also, we have other cameras set up. Like the camera that anyone who's watching now at home is looking through, that's a GoPro, and those are like really cool little tiny cameras that you could use to mount on as like a headset or something, so you can film
For
yourself.
sports,
Yeah,
and
doing sports.
and
So-
underwater photography, and
So it's an amazingly eclectic mixture of amazingly professional equipment with the jankiest stuff we can find off the shelf in Best Buy.
My wife is screwing with me on the overlay. Thank you, honey.
So, anything else you want to talk about, Ian?
Can we discuss the mixer a little bit, like how many channels we're using?
It's got 4. Well, okay. When we're usually recording this show, it's a stereo system. You guys come in on one channel, I come in on the other channel, and that's the only way we can actually possibly do a podcast via Skype without me owning several computers, one for each of you. This mixer, which was sourced specifically for this event, is amazing in the fact that it has 4 auxiliary channels and can do a lot of sends and returns without crosstalk. We can do what's called a mix minus, which means that we can send audio out to one channel and have it return on a different channel, so that people who we're talking to over Skype won't have any feedback coming through.
Yeah, so that works great. So instead of when we're doing a Skype call, we don't have the people that are calling in, they don't have to hear themselves, but we can still send that audio out to the stream so that everyone can hear what they're being said, and also the people in the room can hear what's being said in the Skype call.
So you've listened to us really talk for a long time about our favorite technology that we've been working with for the past 3 days, and we'll be continuing to work with for another 3 days, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Oh God, how am I gonna do? What does this all mean for the listener?
Unless you're running your own charity marathon at home, you're probably never going to use any of this stuff.
Yeah, it's not highly recommended, although there's some obviously great benefits, but there is some really, like, I think it's important if you are going to be doing any streamed event, the important parts that you need to keep in mind are some form of interactivity, so you can pay attention to the people who are watching your stream, so you can react to them. So that can be done on any kind of computer.
And then something that's like an overpowered AV computer, because you don't know what you're going to push, you don't know what you're going to stress.
But
and we found that last year.
Even if you're doing something a little smaller scale and you've got a laptop, you could have a breakout box that you can plug cameras into. And I would still recommend using a software like CamTwist that allows you to switch between multiple camera inputs and desktop sharing and that sort of stuff. And then even a smaller little mixer, so you can mix between a couple of different microphones.
Yeah, exactly. And well, we keep talking about CamTwist, and it does all the cool stuff like the green screening and the image overlays and all this really cool production level looking stuff that we can do chroma key with the big green screen we have in the background. You can see all sorts of cool stuff that we can put up there. How much would something like that cost to? Because it's like a television studio in software.
Well, that's the great thing about CamTwist is it's free. So
well, nice. Okay,
so
I
you don't
like
have
free.
And
And
then-
on that bombshell.
Yes. So go and stream your own events. It's not that hard. Well, wait, it is. It is really, really hard. But start off small with a laptop and CamTwist and Flash Media Live Encoder for doing your streaming, and a service provider like Twitch, which is free if you can have ads in your stream, or Ustream or live stream, and broadcast your own little charity event or sporting or music event using easy to find technology. And we have been the most powerful men in Canada. I'm Johnny Blakeborough.
I'm Ian Horner.
And I'm going to take everyone out on a song. I'm Brendan Beej Deary.
Thanks for joining us.
We'll fix it in post.
Aspects
like
of it are not
people.
live.
Wow. And let's do this instead.
Your audience is not live.
Am I coming through?
You're good now.
I'm good. I'm just gonna bypass the effects altogether. Okay, so old Canadian favorite. Some of you will recognize this. There's a voice that keeps on calling me down the road where I'll always be. Every stop I make, I'll make a new friend. Can't stay for long, just turn around and I'm gone again. Maybe tomorrow I'll wanna settle down. Until tomorrow I'll just keep moving on. Down this road never seems to end. New adventures just around the bend. So if you wanna join me for a while, just grab your hat and travel light, that's Hobo style. Maybe tomorrow oh, why does it always do that? Maybe tomorrow I'll wanna settle down. Until tomorrow I'll just keep moving. Maybe tomorrow. Where is the? Oh, you scrolled it and I've lost it now. Fine, maybe tomorrow I wanna settle down. Until tomorrow there's just moving on. So if you wanna join me for a while, just grab your hat and travel light, that's Hobo style. Maybe tomorrow I'll settle down. Until tomorrow I'll just keep moving on. Maybe tomorrow I'll settle down. Until tomorrow I'll just keep moving on. Something's wrong with that chorus. There's a world that's waiting to unfold. Brand new tale no one has ever told. We've journeyed far, but you know it won't be long. We're almost there, we paid our fare with the Hobo song. Maybe tomorrow I'll wanna settle down. Until tomorrow I'll just keep moving on. So if you wanna join me for a while, just grab your hat and travel with that Hobo style. Okay, everybody on this. Maybe tomorrow I'll wanna settle down. Until tomorrow I'll just keep moving on. Maybe tomorrow I'll wanna settle down. Until tomorrow I'll just keep moving on.
Thanks for everyone for indulging us while we did a talk deck.
I was a deprived child too.
I saw Star Trek and reboot.
Ian, mute the.
A lot of Star Trek.
Wait, mute the.
Everything's muted.
Okay.
Thank you.
Everything.
This is probably Star Trek.
Oh, this is kind of a little bonus top tech thing. Someone's been asking a couple tech questions. We actually have 2 dedicated internets for the stream. We have one that is being used just for the stream, and then one for everything else in the moon base. And so Shaw has provided us fast internet so that we have access to just a very fast modem just specifically for this. You need my password again?
Yes, please. I noticed a question there in the chat as well, actually, about a guy who's wanting to get into podcasting and whatnot. Get an icicle. And get an icicle and a Shure SM58. And that's probably the best mic setup you'll be able to do. That way you can upgrade to a better microphone in the future. You can still use USB. Search Long and McQuaid. That's a good place to start. We rented a lot of stuff from them. That's it. Now, excitement!
Also, someone was saying that we need a
Compressor
compressor.
and some microphone preamps.
We agree.
Yes.
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 Oh,